NFL trades that just make sense entering the 2022 NFL season. Larry's like, please just talk about football. Let's just not talk about that anymore. We are just 5 days away from training camp. We are your home of the Cowboys, and of course that means training camp will be all over it for you here.
I mean, heck, we're gonna start out with the Big Bonanza, Jerry's State of the Cowboys
the
on
State
Tuesday.
of the Cowboys.
We done blown out everything for you. You will get the whole hour, and knowing Jerry, it'll probably be longer than an hour. State of the Cowboys right here on 105 through the Fans. We got you covered.
Over under how many headlines come out of that State of the Cowboys speech? At least 5.
Yeah, and he don't even got to say nothing.
He's got to show up.
Because we know how the media works. We know how like this sports industrial complex works. Jerry Jones say some with the Cowboys. We'll make it news.
It will be definitely news here. But I like this. It comes from Bleacher Report, Chris Arnold's favorite publication. Love you, Chris Arnold. 5 trades that just make sense before the start of the NFL training camp and season across the NFL. And let's just start with the quarterback position because, of course, that's the most important position in the NFL. And I don't think this one would happen because who's trying to trade within the division? Jimmy Garoppolo to the Seattle Seahawks. I just can't see it happening. Now, the deal that they propose is that you trade Jimmy Garoppolo to the Seahawks and you get a 2023 conditional 5th-round pick. So really much of nothing when it comes to Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah, I don't see it.
I don't see it either. Again, namely because why are you trying to trade him into a divisional opponent? I don't see that happening.
Yeah, and it seems like they're and this is the funny thing is that's actually a roster that's kind of built up all right, or actually like they've got some gaps in certain spaces, like which you would kind of look at as like the big spaces, but they're going to need a quarterback. But I think they have the understanding that you're close enough as a roster that you want to just slot in the good quarterback. You know, like, I don't know why you would give up draft capital to get Jimmy Garoppolo, who even by the best metrics is a competent quarterback and not a great one by any means. So with that being the case, I don't know why you give up capital. I mean, I think we've moved away from the time in the NFL where every year's got to be a winning one. Right? Like there was a time in the NFL where if you even gave the impression, the hint, the notion that you weren't trying to win every game, that was damn near fireable. It was like it was an affront to the sport. We're past that now.
Yeah,
we're in times where teams can openly kind of tank, and it's kind of amazing that that's the case. So with that being the case, I think the Seahawks are in that place where they're kind of okay with tanking. Also, like, what makes you go and get a quarterback or something like that where you're like, we got to win? It's a lack of job security, right?
Mm-hmm.
That is a brain trust of Pete Carroll and what's my guy's name? Is the
John Schneider.
John Schneider. Thank you. As the general manager, they have all the job security in the world. So I don't think that they have any level of pressure on them to go, we need to go get a quarterback, any quarterback. And I think that's what a move for Jimmy Garoppolo would be, a quarterback, any quarterback.
I'm just fascinated that Seattle really looked at their situation and chose Pete Carroll over Russell Wilson. Like, because that's in essence what they did. Let's get back to how Pete Carroll wants to play and win football games instead of keeping the guy, where it's really hard to find good players at that position.
Although there's people out here that are looking up and they're saying, how old now? Are we starting to see decline? Because he might be close to that cliff where, and maybe like
okay, Max.
Max who?
Max Kellerman with the Tom Brady cliff. Remember the cliff?
Well, I think that's just typically how it goes with a lot of quarterbacks.
Yes.
The problem is we've had 2 that are just like, no, I'm not doing that.
Uh-huh.
And so maybe we're seeing a different era in quarterbacks. I don't know. I think maybe I need to see a little bit more evidence to feel that way. But it feels like when a quarterback stops being good, it happens pretty rapidly. And so there is that fear that maybe you're getting close to that. And I can see how maybe you go, we side with the dude who took us to a couple of Super Bowls. Even though I personally don't know that I would make that decision, I could see how maybe you side that way and say the institutional stability and the idea that we'll be able to build this thing back up matters more than a quarterback that we're not certain is going to be there for a whole bunch longer. I don't know.
Next one on this list here, 5 trades that just make sense before the start of the 2022 NFL season. Kareem Hunt to the Los Angeles Rams. That's an interesting one, sending him to the Rams in exchange for a 2023 3rd-round pick.
They still got those?
the picks, the Rams?
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's a third rounder. Don't worry about them, those first rounders and all that stuff.
Well, we know their institutional motto on picks.
Right.
It's to F them.
Exactly. Forget them picks.
Look, Kareem Hunt has been a fantastic part of a good tandem in Cleveland. For a third round, you said?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I kind of like that. The tough part about it is Cleveland just brought in a quarterback that they're paying a whole bunch of money, and I guess maybe they say that they're not trying to win this season because he might be suspended. But yeah, that duo is part of what makes that team really good. It's part of what makes that thing tick.
And more for the Rams, they have no real existence of a running game.
No,
and
they don't.
And that was evident during the playoff run that they had this past year, despite the fact that they won the Super Bowl. The Rams do have $9.7 million in cap space. They could afford to take on Hunt's 6.3 cap hit if they so choose to do so.
Yeah, but I guess, how old is Kareem Hunt?
Kareem Hunt going into this upcoming year, I'd have to check that. But
he's 26.
26? Okay, so you still got some times with him.
Yeah, well, because my thing about it is, like, I wonder if what the Browns will prioritize there. Do they prioritize a back that they feel like they could keep around for a little bit, and maybe I need to look at his actual contract? Or would they prioritize having that asset that they could turn into a younger back? As we know, certain people look at that and they go, it don't matter, any back, get a back, any back, as long as I'm not having to pay them. And yes, this would be a contract year for Kareem Hunt, who is currently, his base salary is $1.3 million. I have a feeling that the next contract is going to be more than that. So yes, I actually all the way around, I think I agree with this trade.
The next one, real quick, we'll mention these two real quick before we get to the Cowboys one here. Darius Slayton to the Chicago Bears. Yeah, they need wide receiver help and help out Justin Fields as much as they can.
Yeah.
You can spend a 2023 7th round pick if you were the Bears to get Darius Slayton. That could work out for them. This one is an intriguing one here because you could pair him alongside Chandler Jones in Las Vegas, and that is a guy in Robert Quinn who had a monstrous 2021 NFL season. The Bears in this case would get a 2023 2nd round pick in exchange for Robert Quinn, who again would go alongside Chandler Jones and that defense in Las Vegas. Remember, last year Quinn had 18.5 sacks for the Chicago Bears as they were doing a whole bunch of nothing in the NFC North.
You're making me think about the Chicago Bears who are going to be boo-boo this year. Let's move it along.
Yeah, it's definitely good. Good luck with that, Matt Eberflus. Good luck with that, new head coach in Chicago. This is for the Dallas Cowboys. Would you be interested in another Atlanta Falcon?
Which one?
This one would be Deion Jones. Deion Jones to the Dallas Cowboys. The Cowboys would send a 2023 6th round pick in exchange for acquiring linebacker Deion Jones. Remember, this is a Cowboys team last year that was 24th in run defense in terms of yards per carry allowing 4.5 yards per carry and surrendering an average of 130 yards per game over the final 10 games of the regular season last year. Could I interest you in Atlanta Falcon Deion Jones for the Dallas Cowboys?
I think that you could.
Okay.
I think that you could. He's dealing with the shoulder. He had a shoulder surgery, and so I think he's missing all-season workouts with that. So that's a little concerning. But honestly, my brain went, is it lower body? Can he run? Because, like, the thing that I've had concerns with is actually, like, run fitting with these linebackers. And I feel like the shoulder, like, it could be something that psychologically makes you go, I don't know if I want to get in there. But if he's over that and, like, the legs get him into those run gaps and he's doing those run fits, yeah, I'd love that. Because what have we talked about with the linebacker core? If you have consistent linebacking play, that could free you up to better move around your queen piece of on this chessboard of football, which is Michael Parsons. Let him do all of the things that he does well and be unpredictable and really wreak havoc. I think it's the term that you used yesterday, in the way that he absolutely can with all his skill sets. So yeah, I'm actually like this. And what's the compensation that you're sending again?
You're just sending a 2023 6th round pick. That's it.
I'm good with that. I know that this team, likes some of those late round picks, but for a player that they know will impact right now, I mean, what does he cost? Right? Like, what does his contract look like?
So for him, you're looking at a guy that's based on His cap hit, I thought I had it listed right here. It doesn't necessarily have it listed, but
his
obviously
base salary is $2.2 million.
And the Cowboys have plenty of cap space at this point with the over $20 million that they have.
His cap hit is $20 million. I don't know how that gets distributed in that trade situation because I done forgot in this very moment. But that's the thing that we have to talk about with this organization is when they are willing to actually utilize those assets that they've accumulated. In this instance, we're talking about cap space. They love to what do we call it, KG? What do they call it? Keep the powder dry.
That's exactly it.
And so that would be the thing that kind of gives me some pause. But if they are willing to utilize that and getting that linebacker, now of course,
and you would make Atlanta pay for some of that as well in terms of his dead
right,
cap
and
money.
that's what I'm saying. It's like
Yes.
I don't know exactly how that would be balanced out, but should that be favorable? I like this. I do. I because there's concerns after you get Leighton Vander Esch, who I think that we're all comfortable with him starting, but I don't think we love him as like. That's going to be 100% okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then Jabril Cox, who we don't know a ton about, especially we believe he's a good in coverage, but getting up, going downhill is something that we want to see and see if that's there. And then after that, you got like a consistent backup linebacker and question mark. So it'd be nice to have somebody you feel comfortable about.